Okay. Um, Welcome, candidates. Thank you guys for coming today. Mr. Marty Sawyer, Stuart Prettle, and Ed Wilson. Thank you guys for joining this. This is the Aiken Association of Realtors candidate forum regarding the Aiken County Sheriff Republican primary election. So please note that we are recording this and we do plan to post it for the Aiken Association of Realtors members. So they can go back and watch this if they were unable to attend today, or if they want to go back and just relive some of the moments. My name is Jacob Klarman. I am the current chairman of the legislative committee, and the legislative committee is the one putting these forums on. We hosted two yesterday for the state house primary races. So today we're doing our local races, which is the sheriff, and then we'll do the county council this afternoon. I am the past president of the Aiken Association of Realtors, so that's my board of directors position. Just to give you guys an idea who is on the call currently, you see Tad Barber. He just turned his camera on. He is the current president of our board of directors. We have Tabitha Amodio, who is our association executive. So she is basically the CEO of the association. With her is John Lampert. He is a member of our legislative committee, and Monique Jones. She is a member of our committee as well. We have several people attending who are not on camera, so looks like we've got a fairly good turnout. Like I said, we're going to post this recording to our membership later today after we're completed. So, kind of getting started, what we look to do is we're going to give you guys about 3 minutes for an opening statement. So you can tell us a little bit about yourself. What are you doing now? What is your basically your elevator pitch for your candidacy, and use that time for however you see fit. I think we'd love to just get to know more about you guys. We do have questions that are pertaining to issues that we think are related to real estate, Aiken in general, things that may inform the voters about what your vision for being the sheriff of Aiken County is. So with those questions, we're going to try to limit the responses to about 2 minutes if we can. We want to try to get this done within an hour. So I will get started. Let's start with Mr. Stewart. Could you go ahead and give us your introduction, please, sir?
Yeah, my name is Stuart Prettle. I've been an officer since a law enforcement officer since 1977. I graduated, I retired from Aiken County Sheriff's Office. I've done traffic divisions. I've been an investigator with the state. I'm seeing the crime rate skyrocket in Aiken County, from burglaries, larcenies, assaults. We have one of the highest crime rates in the nation right now. That's not even per capita, it's for any city, any population. I'm just watching the citizens of Aiken County become victimized, and it seems as though nothing is being done. I travel from one end of the county to the other, and I've been hearing the same story over and over and over again, how people are very dissatisfied with what is going on with the law enforcement response to any kind of crime in the city. People are very concerned about all the homeless now. A lot of homeless camps within the even in the woods, not far from me, and I live in a very safe community. There's a homeless camp in about 10 minutes from me. People are very concerned about traffic, people running red lights, people running stop signs. There's no traffic division. Basically, I feel that I can do a much better job protecting the citizens of Aiken County at this point in juncture. I am retired, and I've been state constable since I retired. And I love this county. I love the people, and I just feel that I can do a much better job protecting them.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Stewart. Mr. Marty Sawyer, go ahead.
Yeah. First off, I want to say good morning and thank you for allowing us this opportunity to talk to you and give you our pitch. Personally, to tell you about me a little bit, I'm married to Kimberly Brown Sawyer. We have 2 grown daughters. One lives here in Aiken, one lives in California. I was born in Augusta, Georgia, and have been here all my life in Aiken County. I've lived here all my life. Kim and I are members of St. John's United Methodist Church, and I'm active in the community, especially the mental health community. Do a lot of mental health, go to a lot of mental health fundraisers, helping mental health stuff. And I'm big on mental health for not only citizens of Aiken County, but as you'll hear in a minute, employees at the sheriff's office. As far as my professional career, I started as a fire cadet at 16 years old in Graniteville with GBW Fire Department. I started at public safety here in 1989, worked my way through road patrol, went to special operations, worked narcotics for 12 years, where I was assigned to a federal task force with ATF, working all over the Southeast. In 2012, I was appointed captain of our investigation division, which includes adult investigation, juvenile investigation, school resource officers, and a few more things. In 2016, I had the opportunity to go to the FBI National Academy, which is a very prestigious honor. Less than 1% of police officers in the world get that opportunity, and I was afforded that opportunity, and I really appreciate it. With 2 or 3 minutes to talk, you can't go into a lot of detail about your plan, but so I'm not going to talk about individual drugs, individual things. My goal is to make Aiken a safer place to live, to visit, to play, and to work, period. Let's just make it safer. Couple ways to do that real quick is more visibility. Marked cars and blue lights flashing deter crime. So we got to get more people out on the road to be seen more. And secondly, my employees will be my priority, period. Their training, their equipment, their physical health, physical fitness, and their mental health. And to close out with the employees and why they're my priority, because the better product that our command staff produces, from records personnel to dispatch to deputy to jail personnel, the better product we produce, the better product you get when you call for service. And again, I appreciate this opportunity to be able to speak to you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Sawyer. Ed Wilson, are you there? You ready to get going? Mr. Ed Wilson, are you there? Tabitha, any signs of life from Mr. Wilson? Do you have any chats or anything?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, then I think we can go ahead and get started with our questions then. Ed, if you get set up and you get, I'm guessing maybe technical issue or maybe if something going on, if just give us a holler if you're there. Okay, so I'm going to go back to Stuart and I'm going to ask you, what is your vision for keeping Aiken the safe place we know it to be? So kind of expound on your goals there.
Well, we have had 100 overdose deaths last year. We've got to get a dedicated, hardworking narcotics division in here. I would bring in narcotics agents who have never been seen in Aiken County. I know that they're trying to make buys out of crack houses, and many of these agents have been recognized. I would get them from different parts of the county. You can borrow them. I work narcotics on the coast, and you can bring them in here temporarily, make cases, get warrants, and hit these houses. Unfortunately, nothing is being done right now. If you start hitting these crack houses, and they get they know they're going to start going to jail, a lot of times they will shut down and they will go someplace else out of Aiken County. I'm sorry about my cat. And as far as the traffic, I would put in a traffic division. My Great Dane and I were almost killed by a woman just blew a red light by 30 seconds. It's happening everywhere. They're passing on double yellow lines. They're going through stop signs. They're going through red lights. They're speeding. And it's not just the job of highway patrol, but it also of the county. I know that a lot of times they're answering calls. We need more officers on the street. As far as the deputies, uh, there are 30 pounds basically on your gun belt. I would remove those 30 pounds, put them in a load bearing vest, which will save their backs, save their health, make their working lives much easier. For the deputies, again, I would change the shifts. They're working every 2 weeks now. We're changing from midnights to days every 2 weeks, and that's a killer. As far as the homeless, we have to partner with many of the social groups, I think, in Aiken City and come up, and then Aiken County, and come up with a solution as to what to do with these. Because, like as I said before, many are living in the woods, many are alcoholics and on drugs. The crime rate has skyrocketed with thefts and larcenies. We're way above the average. We've got to make a real presence inside the community. When they're not answering calls, the deputies need to hit about every street in their area, and they need to stay within their area. That way they know what is normal and what is not normal. Uh, we've got to be seen, and that is the main thing. And we've got to change the culture where the deputies are talking to the public. The sheriff has got to talk to the public. They've got to go to meetings. They've got to talk to business owners. They have to be able to communicate with people so you know what's going on in the county. You have to be out there with your deputies to know what is going on with your deputies. And if you don't do that, then you don't know what's going on with the county and you can't fix it. This county is 1,081 square miles, 1,081. It takes a long time to get from one end of the county to the other. And the problems in Aiken County now are perverse. They're happening everywhere from Lexington to Savannah River, everywhere. It's not changed, even in North Augusta. Now they're coming over the river, hitting hitting the
Sorry to interrupt,
businesses.
that's 3 minutes. You can finish your thought though.
Which
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Marty.
Same question about my vision.
Yes, sir. Vision, keeping Aiken the safe place we know it to be.
Well, I'm thinking a little different than Mr. Prettle's thinking, because what's going on now is not working. So what we're working on right now is getting 2 rapid DNA machines. And I say we, law enforcement in general, one to go at the jail and one to go with the crime scene unit at the sheriff's office. And what the one at the jail will do, everybody that comes in, no matter what the charge, just like fingerprints, will take your DNA. Now, it has to reach certain specifications to go into CODIS, which is the national database for DNA, but it don't matter. We can build our own Aiken County DNA database. And what that does is, just because they haven't committed a felony, they can still be in the database for Aiken County. And we just have to get an analyst to confirm what the rapid DNA machine says. So if somebody breaks into your business tonight and there's blood on the door, nobody's going to test it. SLED is not testing DNA for property crime. So it's just not going to get tested. That leads to my next point is, the first thing I'm going to ask council for is to join with another law enforcement agency that already has a DNA lab. They're already up and running. They already have the machinery. They already have the chemists. They want 2 analysts to bring the Aiken County evidence down there every day to test it. And it's a 90-day turnaround. We can test our own property crime and start putting some of these thieves in jail that are committing these crimes over and over and over, but we don't have any evidence because we can't test the DNA. We're talking a 90-day turnaround. There are 3 people in Aiken County Jail right now that's been sitting there for over 1,300 days, and we're waiting on evidence to come back from SLED. As an American citizen, that ought to make you mad that they're sitting in jail that long without having a crime, or without having a trial. So I agree there's problems that we need to deal with on an everyday basis, but I believe long term, these rapid DNA machines and getting a drug lab up and running that's already running, just join it, because it would take 3 years from day one if Aiken County opened up our own. That would be 2 priorities that I would ask council for from day one.
Okay. The next question, do you plan to continue expanding the force to keep up with the growing population in Aiken? And I'll go back to you first, Marty.
Yeah, you're not gonna get extra people every year. Like I said, the priority the first year would be these rapid DNA machines and the DNA lab and a couple analysts. I also think there are some positions at the sheriff's office now that are wasted positions that could be put back on the road patrol. But there's 3 people working forensics in this county, and there ought to be 7, 8, 9 people working forensics in this county with all the crime we're having. If we had more people in forensics, I believe we would be solving more crime. So yes, they wouldn't necessarily go to the road every year because there are other positions that also need to be filled. But again, I'll go back. I said it, Stuart said it. Visibility is the key to deterring crime. There's no way to put a number on what you're deterring. But I promise you, when they see the cars in their neighborhood and they see blue lights flashing, they go other places. They may go other places in Aiken County. We just have to go deal with them there. But let's hope we run them to Edgefield County or Lexington County or Baltimore County and get them out of Aiken County.
Okay, Mr. Stewart.
I think as far as the DNA lab, to actually build a lab from the ground up is about 18 to 20 million dollars. To have an existing building is about 1.8 million. The data analysts for DNA is about $90,000 a year on average plus. I think what Aiken County Sheriff's Office needs to do is just get back to basics. Because as I said, I've been going all over the county and people complaining. I just got my shed broken into. I just got my house broken into. There was one case where the guy was walking down the road and nothing was done. I just think we need to get back to basics. I think we need to get back to traditional policing for modern day problems. We've got to get back to basics. We've got to communicate with the citizenry, and we've got to find out what's going out on the street. Now, DNA is really great. There's many labs going in. Charleston County wants a lab. Charleston City wants a lab. And I understand that SLED is overworked with DNA and it's taking a long time coming back. But from what I'm seeing and through my experience, we've just got to get to basic policing and get back with the citizens, find out what's going on, and start prosecuting the people that are committing these crimes. Now, as Marty says, DNA can link people to crimes as far as rapes and things like that, and those are going up. I just believe that we can use that money right now. And another thing, as far as getting more deputies, when you have a sheriff that is treating their deputies correctly, they're changing the equipment so the deputies are much healthier. You change their working hours. You change their shifts. If the word gets out that you've got a sheriff that really cares about the deputies and is out there with them and knows them, certified officers are going to be coming to Aiken County. When I worked here, we had a whole page of applicants that couldn't get in because nobody left. We were an absolute family here, and we have got to get back to that. And when deputies are happy in their professional lives and they have fair promotions and they have professional development, that is going to show in their reactions to the community and their interaction with people. When you go to a crime scene and somebody's house is broken into, I take that personally, and I'm going to do what I have to do to make sure these people are in jail. And a lot of times they're not being arrested. And I'm just hearing this from all across the county, and people are very, very upset. And that has got to change. And Marty is right. He said visibility is key. But you've also, when I was on the street, I used to work undercover in high crime areas on my days off. And they made extra money, but we also made a difference. We would go to Windsor or go to Jackson, or go to the Valley and start making cases and have these guys in plain clothes.
Okay.
Can I correct one thing? I didn't say I wanted to build a lab. I said I wanted to join with another agency who already has one and all the equipment. We just have to supply the manpower. So that I'm not talking about spending $20 million.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Okay, so
I know this is not a debate. I wasn't trying to debate. I just want to clear up.
it's okay. It's fine. Given the diverse communities within Aiken County, And I think I'm kind of hearing somewhat of a theme here is to get visibility and things. So given the diverse communities within Aiken, how do you plan to engage with the different groups of people that live here and to build trust and ensure that law enforcement is welcome everywhere that they need to go?
Just my turn, Stuart.
We'll start with Stuart first this time.
Oh, first of all, I am what you call an extreme extrovert. I talk to people constantly in all walks of life. I would have my deputies in amongst the community and you stopping. A deputy, being a law enforcement officer is not just answering 911 calls. It's being responsive to the community. It's changing a tire for an old man, maybe on the side of the interstate so he doesn't get hit, or helping the old lady with her groceries, or maybe talking to a kid that's having problems before he goes and shoots up a school or hurts somebody. You have to be responsible to the community, and that's every community. A lot of times you can go into churches. A sheriff has got to partner with the community in every aspect. The sheriff up in Richland County once a week goes and reads to children every week. And that's what you've got to do. And when you are engaged with the community, when you are seeing the public as law enforcement's got to realize that they work for the citizens don't work for them. And I think that idea has kind of changed over the years, and we have got to get back to knowing that we work for the citizens. We've got to partner with them. We've got to let the kids know that we've got a friend in law enforcement. Like when I was a kid, if you got in trouble, you went to a police officer. Well, it's not like that anymore, and we've got to get back to that. And if we have deputies that are engaging with the community, if we have a sheriff that is engaging with the community in all aspects of every community, then things will change. It will take time, but things will change.
Thank you. Mr. Marty?
I agree. We have a very diverse community, and I think Stuart's right. The sheriff has to get out in every community, not in a coat and tie every day, but go to these community events, know who you're talking to, know what you're talking about, be informed of the problems that that particular neighborhood is having, and get down on the level with them. Play basketball with them, play kickball. Now, the sheriff's a busy person, but you have to make time to do stuff like that, because that's where you get your true information from, that you can feed back to your deputies, and your deputies can feed back to you. And there's requirements, and if you don't meet them, you get your hand slapped through for the state and the federal system of your department personnel matching your community. So if your community's so many Hispanic, so many African American, so many Caucasian, your department personnel should match close to that percentage wise of who you hire. So if you can do that, having Hispanic people, African American people, Caucasian people, Asian people, whatever the case may be, having them work in the areas where the biggest population of these people are, they will build trust better than somebody else of another color or anything like that. So I think we both agree, you just got to be out in the community and earn their trust, because law enforcement overall, we don't have the trust that we used to have. Aiken County, and where I work at public safety, we have the community support a lot better than most places do throughout this country.
Thank you. So what specific strategies do you plan to implement to address the major crime issues in Aiken County, such as property crimes, drug-related offenses, and violent crimes? And what measure would you use to take the success of these strategies? Marty, we'll go to you first this time.
Well, I think the strategy of property crime and doing away with property crime or helping would be the DNA lab. I think with drugs, we got to utilize the resources we have here in Aiken County. Aiken County has 5 or 6 agents in their narcotics division, and there's a federal task force here in Aiken County through ATF that's not being utilized. You can arrest all the street level users every day, and before the paperwork's done, they're back out on the street. So whoever the sheriff is going to have to meet with the solicitor and these judges and come up with a way to start keeping these people in jail, making them pay for what they do. I mean, just getting out over and over and over till they get 4 or 5 drug charges and then they get 6 months in jail that's not helping society. We need to utilize the federal task forces we have because they have unlimited funds and unlimited manpower. I mean, if you don't believe it, just watch the news, they'll tell you. And the reality is they do have funds. They pay for stuff for public safety all the time that we don't have money for because we utilize them in the city. The county needs to utilize them also. And when major crimes and violent crime, I think a lot of cases that are open cases and cold cases are solvable. And maybe not cold cases, but murders that's a year or less old. I think the forensics division is overworked. And then when they do send stuff to SLED, you wait 2 years or 3 years or 4 years to get the DNA back to know who committed the crime. And as far as how would I measure it? I don't know that there's a true way to measure it other than your stats, obviously, but is the public satisfied with you? Are they happy with what you're doing?
Okay, thank you. Stuart?
As far as the narcotics, as I said, Marty's words, and so have I. And I would bring in narcotics agents that have never been known in Aiken County, have never been seen. And when you start making cases, we used to, I got one of the largest drug busts in Folly Beach. And it in relationships with informants. Like what I was saying, old time police work for modern day problems. One of the cases I had that this family's Christmas presents was stolen 3 days before Christmas. And through contacts, through that I had in the city, through investigative work, I was able to get all those presents back for them by Christmas morning. And that wasn't through DNA. It wasn't through anything else. It was honest police work. And that has worked so often. We were putting so many people in jail for drugs and for crack houses. And it's not the user that might smoke marijuana in their house. This is hardcore drug dealers now. We've got meth, we've got fentanyl just in the valley. As I said, we've had 100 overdose deaths. My son in Charleston County has saved 12 so far through Narcan. And we have got to get aggressive. I've always been extremely proactive, and we have got to start hitting these houses through buys from people that have never been seen before, using people that have been from Aiken County and have been seen in Aiken County is not going to work. The thing is, you've got to start putting folks in jail. And as far as the judges, as Marty was saying, I've spent an awful lot of time in courts. And the one thing that I learned, that judges do not want to lose their bench. That's the last thing in the world they want. A sheriff is a very powerful position. The only elected law enforcement official in the United States is a sheriff. You've got the bully pulpit. You have got papers. You have got radio. You have got television. If you are out speaking with the public, say, this is the judge's phone number. He is letting criminals out, and they are victimizing your neighbor. They are victimizing you. 1 in 25 right now in Aiken are going to be a victim of some sort. And these judges, a sheriff cannot tell a judge what to do, but he can manipulate them into keeping a lot of these people in jail and giving them a high bond. And when people start understanding they're going to go to jail, a lot of times they will change their behavior.
Thank you. So, what steps would you use to ensure transparency and accountability within the sheriff's office, especially in light of national concerns over police conduct? How would you handle allegations of misconduct, if any, within your department? I think that would be Stuart.
Well, I've always been completely honest. I was at a guy's house the other day, and the man was about 85 years old. He said, the only thing I asked was be an honest sheriff. And I told my son that, and he laughed. He said, Dad, you're one of the most honest people I've ever met. And transparency is a key. If the deputy is doing something wrong or has done something wrong, then people know. There's so many cameras out now. They have body cams. I mean, if something goes wrong and you're trying to hide it, it's not going to work. There's so many videos out here. You can't get away from it. You have got to be completely honest. And if somebody messed up and somebody did something wrong, then you've just got to come clean. Transparency is huge, because if you don't have transparency and you're trying to hide something, nobody's going to trust you anymore. And once you lose trust of the public, you've lost everything. You have nothing.
Thank you.
Jacob, if you come to one of my talks or fundraisers, meet and greets, my second point is transparency and accountability. And it's second for a reason. I think it is the second most important thing you can do. I agree with Stuart. If you lose trust of the community, you've lost it. And you might as well go and retire, because you ain't going to regain it. I think what law enforcement don't do is promote themselves enough. When they do something good, put it on Facebook, do media releases, say we done this good. But in return, when you don't do something that's so good, then you need to say, hey, this could have been done better. We need to learn from this. There's room for improvement. Police officers are human. They're going to make mistakes. There's no question about it. I can deal with mistakes on duty because they're making decisions in a split second. Now, they might not be able to recover from it, keep their job, but I'll work with them better if they make a mistake on duty. What I will not stand for is off-duty conduct. If you do something off-duty that embarrasses me, my department, and law enforcement in general, you will not have a job, because we all look bad when a police officer messes up and does something they ain't supposed to be doing. I want to have the public's trust. If I stand up and say, we done this right, I want the public to go, okay, we believe you done this right. But I also want the public's trust to know that if I get up there and say, hey, there's room for improvement, we could have done this different, that we're going to work on figuring out where that room for improvement is and making the improvement. And if I got just another second, this goes two ways, not only with the public, but we have to be transparent with our employees, and our employees have to be transparent with us. They're not going, I'll take suggestions from them, but me and my command staff will make the final decision. And I will try to explain why we made the decision, but they're not going, I can't explain every time why a decision was made. They just have to know that it was for the betterment of Aiken County, the betterment of Aiken County Sheriff's Office, and to protect the employees. So transparency and accountability goes two ways.
Yes, sir. Thank you. So I think we've hit on this a little bit, but I'll ask a follow-up question to dedicate a whole period to it. So how do you plan to work with other local, state, and federal law enforcement agencies to enhance the public safety in Aiken County? Could you provide examples from your past where you've successfully collaborated with other agencies?
We do it every day at public safety. We work with the Sheriff's Office. We work with North Augusta. We work with ATF Task Force, which includes people from Richmond County, over in Augusta, ATF agents from Augusta. I got guys out right now with SLED trying to track down a murder suspect that we got warrants on this morning. Aiken County Sheriff's Office cannot do this by themselves, and I think that's what they're trying to do right now. Aiken Public Safety North, nobody can do this by themselves. We're all chasing the same criminals. Today they might be in the city of Aiken, tomorrow North Augusta, next day in the county, next day in Edgefield. You have to work together as a group. We're all police officers. We all have the same goal. And if you don't work together with other agencies, and you don't get along with other agencies, and I don't want to go too far because this is my closing remarks, but it's a must. It ain't an option. If you're going to be successful as a police department or a sheriff's department, a state agency, it don't matter. You have to work together. Like I said, it's not an option, it's a must.
Thank you. Stuart?
Yeah, I actually completely agree with Marty on this. I absolutely have always work with other agencies. You have to, because what happens in Atlanta is going to happen in Aiken. What happens in Columbia is going to happen in Aiken. And what happens in Aiken may happen in Augusta. You've got to keep in touch with the sheriffs and the police officers in your area and even not in your area. I have proposed having an intelligence, sorry, my cat keeps jumping up here, an intelligence committee where the sheriffs and the police officers may get together once every 6 months, and before those 6 months, have people in the department that are communicating with other agencies, both federal, sheriff's office, and cities. As Marty's did say, and I completely agree with him, that you've got to communicate with other agencies. If not, you cannot stand alone. You absolutely can't, because whatever intelligence you have, they may need, and what intelligence they have will benefit you. You cannot be an island, especially now in this day and age. And with the internet, everything is out there, and you've got to stay one step ahead of the criminals. So that's the way to do it, as to communicate with other agencies constantly.
Okay, great, thank you. Yeah, we're coming up on the last question that we have prepared. Any of the attendees, I just would like to make a note, if you guys would like to drop a question in the Q&A portion of the Zoom, the committee members are monitoring that, and we could put that forward if anything comes through. So candidates, I think perhaps, we've touched on a lot of these items, but if you could just sort of consolidate what you think your top 3 goals are. After we've talked through all of this, there's been a lot of different ideas and thoughts put forward, which we really appreciate. But top 3 things you'd like to achieve. Just sort of recap that. And with that answer, what do you think might be the biggest challenges of achieving those, and what might you do to overcome that?
Is this our closing, or is this just?
Not closing, but
Okay.
need an extra minute or 2. I know this is sort of a nuanced question.
Okay.
But go ahead, Marty.
I went first last time.
Okay, well, let's do it then. Go ahead.
I don't mind going first. My top 3 priorities, like I said earlier, I have one priority, is to make Aiken a safer place to live, work, play, and visit. And I'm sure Stuart and Ed and whoever has the same ultimate goal, but I think how we get there is going to be different. And I think the first way that, as I said earlier, the priority is the employees. And I don't need to repeat all about what I'm going to do and how I'm going to do it with them, but I'll repeat again, the better product that I can produce, the better product you get when you call for service. Even in the jail, when the people go to jail, they're still human beings. They deserve the best service they can get from the jailers and the employees at the jail. So that's my first priority. Second priority, as I just told you a while ago, is transparency and accountability. Not to rehash all that, but you have to be transparent and you have to be accountable to the public and to your employees, and then vice versa to you. And third, an engaged community. Once again, the sheriff's office cannot do this by themselves. If they don't have community help, community assistance, relationships with the community to get information, to be able to go talk to them, to pass on information, it's just not going to work. I mean, and them, the prepared enforcement, the deputies, the transparency, accountability, and engaged community, I hope, and my plans are, will take me where I want to go. And I think a big thing is the command staff you choose. The people that will make the decisions you want them to make, would make the decisions that you would make if you were there. And it's how they treat their employees and how they are respected by their employees. I figured hiring retention was going to come up. We will have a recruitment team, not full time, but that goes out. But I want to be the biggest recruiter for Aiken County Sheriff's Office. I want my employees to go, Marty Sawyer is a great guy to work for. He takes care of us, he cares about us, and he's fair. If I can do that, my employees would be my biggest recruiter. I won't have to have people going to events over and over and over and be short like every law enforcement agency is today.
That's great. Thank you. Um, Tabitha, maybe we need to resend the invite to Stuart. It looks like he dropped off.
Yeah, it looks, I think he was having some technical difficulties. I'll step away and resend it. Be right back.
Okay. Let's see. I want to sit here and have dead air time. I can ask these questions to Stuart when he gets back on. Question here, Marty, from the gallery. Do you think that funding is appropriate for the department, and do you believe you can get adequate financial support from the county council?
Yeah, you can always use more money. It don't, because I mean, there's unlimited things you could buy equipment wise and pay. Law enforcement, we will always take more pay. Law enforcement's making more money today than we ever thought we'd see. I never thought I'd be where I'm at in law enforcement, making the kind of money I'm making. Aiken County Council has been really good to the sheriff's office with funding. And I think as long as we can produce results and show that we're spending their money wisely, I think they will continue to fund us. But I think you have to be transparent with them and show them where the money's going, and that you're spending it wisely. Maybe I shouldn't say this. They're fixing to take on a huge radio commitment from the 800 PAL 800 system, and they're making about an $800,000 a year commitment for the next 10 years to not only the sheriff's department, but the sheriff's department, EMS, and fire department. So I think funding is adequate, but you can always have more. And like I said, county council has been good to the sheriff's office, and I think they will continue to be, as long as you can show that you're spending the money wisely.
Thank you, Marty.
Hey, I'm back.
You back? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
Okay. Well, I thought maybe your cat chewed the power cord.
No, it did. No.
All right. Well, so kind of two questions for you to circle back to.
Okay.
The question that we asked before you fell off were the top three goals for Aiken County Sheriff's Office and biggest challenges in achieving those, and what you may do to address them. And I'll let you take that one away, and then we'll get to the gallery question we just asked Marty about funding.
Okay. I think the main thing I would do, the number one thing, is restore confidence in the community. The sheriff's office has got to have, or the public have got to have confidence in any law enforcement agency. And I think the sheriff's office has lost confidence over the years. Number two is safeguard the citizenry. I mean, everybody says that, but you've actually got to be very proactive. You've got to do what you can, talk to people, and you've got to find suspects and start arresting them. I think that is the number one key. That is how you're going to protect people. As far as we've had 100 overdose deaths. We need to protect people from these drugs. People are dying. One is way too many. 100 is outrageous. The meth, the fentanyl. I mean, we have millions of people in this country. We don't know who they are. They're being spread everywhere. So we've got to combat this. We've got to do it through patrols. We've got to do it through visibility. But the number one thing is to restore confidence in the sheriff's office and know that the deputies are working hand in hand with the public to keep them safe and keep their properties safe. We've got to make sure that, or try to keep people from dying from all these drugs. We've got to put Narcan in these cars. Many people can be saved by that if we can get there in time. Response time has got to be much better than it is right now. So basically, that's the thing: restoring confidence, protecting people from drugs, and their property and their lives, and keep them safe.
Thank you. For the question that came in from the gallery, that we went ahead with Marty while you were reconnecting was, do you think that funding is appropriate for the department? And do you believe you get adequate financial support from the county council?
You always have to work with the county council, and sometimes that can be difficult. Things can be moved around in the budget. I would certify every officer with radars. I put radar in every patrol car. As I said, the traffic problems right now are horrendous. We can get funding. Also, you get part of whatever ticket you're writing, and part of that goes into the funding. A lot of times, we used to have guys that say shake the money tree and get federal funds for local law enforcement. And a lot of times you used to get heat cars and things like that. So the funding can be there. You can rework things. You can use what you have at hand to amplify your law enforcement and the productivity of your deputies. So it can be done. You provide the case for the council. Sheriff always has a honeymoon period, and he's got to take advantage of that.
Thank you. Another gallery question. What will you do to make sure we do not have a problem with squatters taking over vacant homes in Aiken County, Marty?
Well, the first thing you got to do is come up with a law or an ordinance that makes it illegal. I mean, it's just trespassing. So if they just started, then put up no trespassing signs, and let's be the strong community that we are, and strong law enforcement in the South, and put them in jail. Your property is your property. You ought to be able to do with your property what you want to do with it. So if they're squatting, they're trespassing, put them in jail.
Thank you. Stuart?
I can't disagree with Marty. There's 1,200 homes in Atlanta, Georgia that have been taken over. And in Georgia law, you've got to go to the magistrate or the judge and have them evicted. And that can take 30 to 60 days where you are losing your home. In New York City, they just arrested a homeowner for changing the locks on her door to keep squatters out. Thankfully, South Carolina is not like that. Anybody enters your home, they have no right to. It's not their property. You put them in jail and keep on doing it. Thankfully, this is not Georgia. This is not New York. This is South Carolina, and we will put them in jail. They have no right to be in anybody else's home and use their property as their own.
Thank you. So, another question. Oh, never mind. What will be the policy for traffic felony pursuits and chases? I guess this is people running from the cops. What would be your policy on this?
Who?
Well, go ahead, Stuart.
Okay. I had a highway patrolman come up to me and ask me, what is my policy on pursuits? And I said, until the wheels fall off. The problem is, if people know that you are not going to pursue, all they have to do is hit a convenience store, hit 100 miles an hour, you turn your lights off, and they're gone. That is the problem. A lot of times when you are pursuing somebody, you don't know what you're pursuing them for. So it's a fine-edged sword. Now, when it gets into a dangerous area, such as downtown Aiken, that's a different story. Then a lot of times the sergeants or lieutenants will have the opportunity to call off a chase. You always have to keep the safety of the public in mind. But as far as not pursuing, I don't see that's an option, because the criminals know very, very quickly what is going on. In Berkeley County, they don't pursue motorcycles, and they don't pursue them in Charleston now. So the bikes are just gone. They hit 70, 80, 90 miles an hour, and they're just gone. They're hitting convenience store, jump on a motorcycle, and they know they're not going to be pursued. And so you've got to understand what's actually going on from a law enforcement perspective. But then again, the safety of the public is paramount.
Thank you, Marty.
I think that if you're chasing a felon for a violent crime, that you chase them as long as it's safe. I agree that you get to a busy neighborhood or a school zone, it don't matter what you're chasing for, even if it's murder, it ain't worth 2 or 3 kids getting killed running through a school zone in 100 miles an hour. I do not believe, and I agree with Stuart, when you start chasing somebody for a tag or a light being out, they're not running for that. They're running for something else. But you don't know what they're running for. And it's all well and good until you hit a car and kill 5 people and you find out their driver's license was just suspended. I don't want to lay down at night. And I can tell you, I've seen deputies and police officers that have done that. They can't lay down at night knowing that they've killed somebody or injured somebody very bad for a turn signal being out. So with felonies and violent crimes, absolutely. You got to chase as long as it's safe. For traffic violations, absolutely not. I'm worried about my kids, my grandkids, my wife, all of y'all's family being on the road and us chasing somebody for a tag light out at 120 miles an hour.
Thank you.
And that's not popular with the road deputies, I can tell you. And it wasn't popular with me when I was young, but things change.
I would just say that the only thing is, I never chase somebody for tag light. As Marty said earlier, it's usually for another reason. A lot of times people that commit these major crimes, armed robbery, murder, a lot of times they're speeding or they have lights out or no tag. It's just, they may as well have a sign saying, come and arrest me. It's just crazy. So I never chased somebody for a tag light or a tag light being out or no brake lights. It's always something much bigger, but criminals notoriously aren't very bright. So, you really don't know why they're running, but a lot of times it's a lot, or all the time, it's a lot more than just a tag light.
Sure. Thank you. All right, guys. Well, we're running perfect timing to go ahead and give your closing remarks. I believe that would come to Marty first. Go ahead and take a couple minutes, 2, 3, 4 minutes to give any closing remarks you'd like. We'll go ahead and wrap this up on time.
Well, Stuart and I agree on some things we don't. One thing that that we don't agree on is a traffic division. And I've asked, I've had several people ask about a traffic division, but every talk I've done, every meet and greet I've done, every email, people are asking about drugs. They're asking about murders, violent crimes, gangs, school safety. I'm basing where I will put people and what divisions I will have on the questions I'm getting and the concerns I'm getting. And I've only had one person ask me about traffic. Now, I think there should be radars in some of the cars. I think you use it in drug neighborhoods to get probable cause to stop them. I'm not saying we won't have some traffic work, but I will not have a full-time traffic division. I think the priorities are in other places. Right now, Aiken County has a couple schools that don't have school resource officers. To me, protecting our students is more important than being out there running traffic. But I just wanted to throw that out real quick. And again, before I finish up, I want to say thank you for the opportunity thank you for your time. Thank you for the opportunity to listen to Stuart and I. Wish Mr. Wilson could have been on here, but he's not. But what I'll say, I'm prepared day one with minimal learning curve to take office as the sheriff at that midnight in January when the time comes. And here's why. I'm the only Republican candidate that has been active as a Class 1 police officer since the early 90s. And I'll repeat that. I'm the only Republican candidate that has been active as a Class 1 police officer since the early 90s. I know the rules, I know the laws, I know the policies and procedures. I don't have to learn all that taking over from sheriff. I can move forward day one with that sheriff's office, which will give me more time to do this. I don't have to go in there and build relationships with other sheriffs, chiefs, small town police chiefs, politicians, county council. I've been doing that for 34 and a half years. I've got relationships built that I don't have to go in there and build with law enforcement agencies. That'll give me the time to go out and start building more relationship with community members in different areas of the county. I'm not familiar with every area of the county. that's where I got to go. I'll have time to do that because I don't have to start from scratch. I've got the experience. I've been active for the last 34 years. So again, I appreciate you listening to me, listening to Stuart. And any other questions, you're more than welcome to call and I'll talk to you. And thank you.
Thank you, Marty. Stuart.
As far as the traffic division, yeah, Marty and I completely disagree about that. When you are an offender bender, you may wait on the side of the road for an hour or two, waiting for Highway Patrol to clear up. You may be in Wagner, and Highway Patrol may be coming from North Augusta. If we have a traffic unit, they're writing action reports and getting you off the side of the road in 10 or 15 minutes. Where I live, I cannot go when the light turns green because people are just blowing red lights like crazy. People that I talk to, like I said, I believe what Marty's saying. People I talk to are very, very concerned about what's going on in the road. They're being passed at 100 miles an hour on 421. I think a traffic division is vital. I absolutely do. In actions, and it frees up Highway Patrol to work traffic and to work red lights. But right now, Highway Patrol is bouncing back and forth between fender benders, and I believe that has got to stop. As far as the deputies, I have a detailed plan to make their lives easier, changing the weight off their gun belts, saving their backs. Most police officers I know have severe back problems, and it's because of that gun belt. You put it in a load-bearing vest, and it makes their lives much easier. You change their shifts, and it makes their lives much easier. You give them professional advancement and education, and it gives them a pathway to promotion and other departments if that's where they choose to go. The reason that I ran, and this has absolutely nothing to do with Marty, I didn't know Marty at all. I worked public safety departments. I worked Casey Public Safety and another department for about 5 years. A public safety department, fireman/police officer, is completely different from the county sheriff's office. I mean, completely different, night and day. And we've just had 20 years of an Aiken public safety fireman/police officer running Aiken Sheriff's Office. And we are watching crime go crazy. We are watching deaths from drugs. We are watching break-ins, larcenies, homeless. It's just gone insane. I'm going from one end of the county to the other. I'm hearing about it constantly. And I just don't think that we need to keep getting our sheriffs from Aiken County, Aiken City Public Safety. And as I said, this has nothing to do with Marty. I didn't know him at all. I know him now. But I just felt that we've got to stop doing this. And yes, Mike Hunt endorsed Marty, but I thought it was strange that Mike Hunt didn't endorse anybody from the sheriff's office. You always hear the meaning of insanity is to go down the same road, do the same thing and expect a different result. And I just feel that we cannot keep getting sheriffs from public safety. And that is one of the main reasons I ran, and because I'm seeing the crime. And it just has not worked for years and years. And we just can't keep doing this. And got to keep the citizens safe. I've been here 35 years. I love the county. I love the people. The crime rate has got to stop. As far as realtors, I talked to a lot of people that have moved here recently, and they said one of the things they did was check the crime statistics, and they said, you've really got a real problem in Aiken County. I said, yes, we do. And that's why I'm running, because I know that I can do something about it. And as far as the relationships, I'm very, very outgoing. I've been my entire life. And it doesn't take me very long to develop relationships with people. I do it very, very quickly, so that's not a problem. But I'm very, very pro in law enforcement, as Marty is, and I've done it a long time. And he is a class one. I go through legals every year. I requalify every year, and have done it for a couple of decades. So that is why I'm running. I know I can make a huge difference in Aiken County. As I said, I'm very proactive. I would be out there with my deputies, and I would be out there talking to the citizens every chance I get, as I do now. And I do appreciate the opportunity that Marty and I had to speak to you.
Well, thank you, gentlemen. We really appreciate you taking the time out of what I'm sure is a very busy schedule. thank you so much. We are going to, like I said, we will post this meeting to our membership, and we will, hopefully be in touch with you guys to maybe offer some opportunities to meet with our members in person in the future. Wish you guys best of luck, and thank you again for coming today. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a nice day.